And very good evening to you all. Welcome to the Regional Economic Conclave. As you know, every area has different problems, different opportunities, and also they have different inherent strength. So taking this into consideration, our Chandigarh chapter, which is led by Mr. Madhusudan Vij as a chairman, they have taken this initiative of getting the industry together. And today we have none other than Mr. Deepak Bagla, who is the managing director of Invest India, and Ms. Isha Kalia also, and other renowned speakers who are going to give the views. If you see, ladies and gentlemen, India is divided into 6 administrative regions as far as the GDP is concerned. So northern region has a total GDP of around $438 billion. And out of this, these 4 states, that is Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, and Himachal Pradesh, they contribute roughly around $251 billion. Roughly around 65% of that comes from these 4 states. So these 4 states become extremely important in the development of this northern region. So this is the idea that we thought that we should conduct this regional economic forum, so that we know that what best policies and what are the industries, what kind of investment can take place here. So I would also like to acknowledge the advisory committee of this forum, which includes Dr. B.C. Gupta, former Secretary, Government of India, Mr. Vikas Verma, Regional Director, UNDP, Mr. Upinder Singh Dhingra, Advisory Services, EY, Ernst & Young, and Colonel Rajiv Bhargava, Associate Director, Indian School of Business, Mohali. And we would also like to acknowledge our partners, Modern Auto, All Merchants, led by Mr. Madhusudan Vij and Mr. S. Paul, for supporting today's session and making it possible for us to bring everyone together. So to begin the program, I would request our Vice President, Mr. Pradeep Multani, to give the presidential address for today's program. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ranjit Mehta. A very good evening to all the participants today to this video conference on augmenting Make in India. We are honored to have today with us Mr. Deepak Bagla, Managing Director and CEO, Invest India, Ms. Isha Kalia, IAS, Additional CEO, West Punjab, Department of Investment Promotion, Government of Punjab. We have with us Major B.S. Kohli, Advisor, Investment Facilitation, Invest Punjab, Mr. Madhusudan Vij, Chairman, PhD Chamber, Punjab, Mr. Rupinder Sachdeva, Mr. Karan Gilotra, former presidents, office bearers of Union Territory of Chandigarh, Punjab, Haryana, and Himachal Pradesh state chapters of PhD, industry members, ladies and gentlemen. It is my proud privilege to be amongst all of you at the first edition of Regional Economic Forum with the theme of augmenting Make in India. Our Chandigarh chapter has initiated the Regional Economic Forum with a view to facilitate macro-level discussions on issues directly impacting the economy of the states of Punjab, Haryana, and Himachal Pradesh and Union Territory of Chandigarh. As our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, gave a clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat, India is taking COVID-19 pandemic as an opportunity to strengthen Make in India movement by bringing never seen before inward investments in India and mobilizing supply chain. We believe that our entrepreneurs have huge potential to use this opportunity and disrupt the world economy by emerging as most suitable supply chain alternative. Hopefully, this will also keep India on track to achieve the target of becoming $5 trillion economy by the year 2024. To be able to achieve this, contribution of each state with their inherent and salient economic features is imperative. As per the official data, till 2008, Haryana was 3.6%, Pradesh 0.82%, and Union Territory of Chandigarh 0.23%. Primary sectors contributing to the GDP of these states are agriculture, automobiles, textiles, IT, pharmaceuticals, healthcare, sports goods, heavy and light engineering products, cycle and cycle parts, horticulture, and tourism. As we see, the next wave of economic growth is visibly coming from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. And looking at this, our states must rebound with their own unique strengths and can hold significant share in giving boost to export, provided central and state governments jointly remove obstacles of these landlocked states. Objective of this forum is to ponder over the obstacles and challenges and come out with solutions with immediate implementation to empower the states in best possible way. This forum will ensure that PhD Chamber provides policy advocacy support to all members from this region. With this thought process, the first edition of the forum brings to you the information we all are seeking in given changing business scenario worldwide, primarily due to COVID-19 outbreak and swift shift in diplomatic and bilateral trade ties. We have requested Mr. Deepak Bagla to share information related to expected inward investments, priority sectors, companies most likely to shift their base to India, and as the outcome of which various opportunities opening for joint ventures, supply chain manufacturing, and exports. We have also requested Ms. Isha Kalia to share the perspective of State of Punjab on increasing its share in national GDP. I sincerely hope that this information will be useful for all of you to pivot your business planning and further expansions. PhD Chamber intends to build the ties and with Invest India to facilitate our members of this region through regional investment desks to ensure swift flow of information in future. Serves as National Vice President of PhD CCI, and after getting inputs from a cross-section of the over 150,000 companies which PhD reaches out to, we have some suggestions for Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, attract FDI, and generating employment. So firstly, what we need to do is reduce the number of government departments which an industry has to deal with from the present 30 to 40 to less than 5. There should be simple one-page application form for registration. Permission should be granted in 7 working days or deemed to be granted. Inspector Raj must end. Each of the 30-40 departments which industry has to face has an inspector plus enforcement team. Visits to any establishment should be only after serving a 14 days notice by speed post or email with the purpose of the visit. After inspection, if any defects are found, the establishment should be permitted to rectify the same. The visit and notice should be authorized in writing by commissioner or deputy commissioner. The attitude of officials, bureaucrats, and inspectors should be of enablers and supporters of industry and trade. So there should be only a one-time registration of industry and trade. License word may kindly be omitted. Every 3 years, reasonable fees may be levied as deemed appropriate. The Indians need a level playing field. There should be production-linked incentive of 20% to give Indian industry a level playing field with China. China gives industrial land practically at zero cost. Electricity and water charges are very low. Rate of interest on capital and working capital is 1 to 2% only versus 8 to 10% in India. Logistics costs in China is below 2%, whereas in India it is between 7 to 10%. Labor productivity is higher in China. In industrial parks, common effluent treatment plants should be maintained by government. As for individual industries, it is a big cost and harassment. To have a level playing field, 20% production-linked incentives should be given by the government. This shall encourage industry to produce, and also, if there is any number 2 business, that will also come into number 1. So another big issue which the industry is facing is timely honoring of contracts and speedy justice. No litigation or dispute should extend beyond maximum 1 year. If the above suggestions are implemented, we are confident India shall be a US dollars 5 trillion economy by 2024. We shall be able to attract FDI, be Atmanirbhar, and generate maximum employment. Respected participants, many of our colleagues comment that China could progress so fast because of communism and single party rule. Our humble request to all that let us look at Japan, Germany, and Israel. As democracies, they have done spectacular growth. If we have the will, there is a way to achieve our goals. The time has come for us to remove the red tapeism and roll out the red carpet for all Indians and the world. With this, I wish you all the best and request you to make the most of today's deliberations, discussions, and getting important information. Let's together make India a rich and prosperous country with inclusive growth for all. Thank you very much. God bless India and all participants. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your very inspirational, optimistic address. Also, you have brought out some 4 sectors like agriculture, horticulture, and of course, pharma and tourism in these 4 states in which we are conducting this regional economic forum. And the suggestions which you have given, I'm sure that Invest India is going to take them into consideration. I invite Mr. Karan Gilhotra, who is the chairman of our Punjab chapter, to introduce our guest, though he doesn't require any introduction, but it is customary. I request Mr. Gilhotra to introduce Mr. Deepak Bagla for the day. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Firstly, I would like to welcome everyone for the Regional Economic Forum. And I'm sure that this initiative by PhD Chamber is going to go a long way. Friends, it's my proud privilege to introduce our distinguished speaker today at this Regional Economic Forum. And as we all know, our keynote speaker, Mr. Deepak Bagla, is Managing Director and CEO of Invest India, National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency promoted by the Government of India. It is also the execution agency for Government of India's startup initiative. Sir has a professional career of over 3 decades, starting with the World Bank in Washington, D.C. and Citibank Global Corporate and Investment Banking, where he held several responsibilities across Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. In 2007, Sir joined private equity to start an India dedicated fund for core infrastructure. Sir is also a special invitee on the official bilateral CEOs forum and a member of the Venture Capital Investment Committee of the US $1.5 billion Fund of Funds for Startups, which was established under the Prime Minister's Startup India Action Plan. He is also a member of the Ministry of Finance Steering Committee on FinTech and a member of the high-level committee of the Atal Innovation Mission, responsible for establishing and scaling up incubators and tinkering labs across India. Sir, on behalf of the PhD Chamber, I welcome you, and over to you, Dr. Mehta.
Thank you very much, Karanji. With such an illustrious career, we are very fortunate to have Mr. Bagla as a CEO of Invest India. Also, he has agreed to address this first Regional Economic Forum, and we all will be benefited by his thought leadership. Over to you, Mr. Bagla.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta. Such a pleasure. And you know, Chandigarh is always my first love. This is my home. So anything associated with Chandigarh is always something like coming back home. But really nice of you to have invited me. And I must say, and I must also Mr. Poltani, and especially Karan, I think he went on for too long. It was too humbling. A lot of it, I don't think you should believe it. But I must compliment PhD as a platform, and even all of you in the Northern chapter too. Especially during the past few years, I'm seeing them come up very fast, and especially on that entire MSME part of the segment. They're doing a tremendous job. You've got a great team, and it's like people like you who bring in this enthusiasm, and you are great partners for us. We often consult PhD for a lot of inputs, especially for the policy making, especially on FDI MSME, and all the policies which are being created. And a lot of stakeholder engagement is being done very actively with you. So thank you very much, and always a pleasure to be here. I'll tell you what I thought I'll do. And you already know what Invest India is. We are the first point of contact for any investor. What we typically do for them is work for them on their business strategy, help them, show them the land, get them a partner, get them all approvals. And then once the business is started, handhold them, and then obviously work with the government on the entire FDI policy, industrial policy, etc., etc. That's one part. The second is the execution arm of Startup India, which we all spoke about, and how to get startups going right across the country. The third is the Prime Minister's Science and Technology Initiative. It's a very important and interesting initiative where the Prime Minister wanted to see how fast we can commercialize a lot of innovation which is happening in India. It is led by the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Prime Minister. So this is the execution arm for that. And the last is the Project Management Group. It used to be earlier headed by the Cabinet Secretary. Now it's been moved to us, which is where all large projects are specifically monitored by the Prime Minister himself and the senior level of the government to see how they're fast-tracked. So now let me bring all this together and just share some thoughts with you, all of you. And I thought I'll just segment them in 4 ways. One is, what is the status today? What are the trends which we've seen emerging during the past few days, and especially between FDI and MSME? And then we can obviously touch upon some of the other subjects. Mr. Multani had some very interesting points, and I thought I'll touch upon them too. So let's look at it today. And guys, just step back and forget all the news channels which we keep watching all the time and the news headlines. Just let's step back for a minute, everyone. We are today on day 116 of the most unprecedented lockdown ever in human history. Think about it. And nowhere in the world is the lockdown more complicated than in India, because the diversity in India, both vertically and horizontally, geographically, economically, every which way, is extremely complex. And within that complexity, to get this entire lockdown happen. Now, there have been multiple questions on the lockdown, good, bad, ugly, whatever. I'll give you the opinions and I'll give you numbers on where my thought on that process comes in. You see, India, one of the first things of a lockdown was to see how fast can we contain the spread of this virus. It is very critical to be able to do that, because that is what will determine how fast can we get out of it. And let's look at some of the statistics on that. India has 729 districts. Now, let me give you some numbers, and this is what I said, just move away from the news headlines which you see every day. Only in 26 districts of India out of 729, only in 26 do I have over 1,000 cases. In 42 districts, including that 26, I have over 500 cases. In fact, in 449 districts out of that 729, I have less than 50 cases. And in 45 districts, I have a 0 case. The reason why I'm telling you that, and actually if I look at the statistics today, I would see that about 3 states would account for 86% of the entire cases. Though one doesn't know how this virus behaves, how it changes every day, and how it's going to impact us tomorrow. But God has been kind. Let us look at our position today. We've been able to contain it well. And for whatever it is, we are all in the same storm across the globe. And I heard somebody say that we are all in the same storm, but we are in different boats. And I think from that perspective, India stands on a fairly strong footing. And one of the things which Invest India has been doing very aggressively during these 116 days is doing global stakeholder consultations. In fact, I would urge each one of you, please go onto our website, investindia.gov.in. It is rated as the world's #1 website. It is updated every day. And within that, go into a business immunity platform, BIM. We started this just 36 hours before the lockdown. And what is interesting in that, you will see, look at day-by-day report, you will see what is the kind of queries which were coming in. And you will see how these queries are changing over time, because we were the war room, which was to help everyone, business or individuals, either getting them curfew passes or helping them movement, or helping, which are essential services to be able to go through, seeing what is the new notifications which had to be coming out. So the team was working non-stop. And what was interesting, what you will notice, is how you would see a particular set of queries coming in, and then within 48 hours, you will see all that resolution happening and a new one coming. So as I was saying, it was evolving very fast, but it was very interesting how everyone, the common people, the social part of our society, the industry, all of us together, and the government and the state governments got together to be able to see how we can take care of this little virus which is impacting us. The story obviously will be told best on a rear view mirror, which I guess will be a few months or years away. We don't know where we are. But hopefully this is where we stand today. Now I've given to you how we've been able to contain it. And let me give you some statistics of June. My power and petrol demand has gone up. Most interesting, toll collections at roads are now 70% of that which was in February pre-COVID. That means my transport and freight is moving back in order. My microfinance collections, well, before I tell you about microfinance collections, because we are talking of MSMEs, my MSME collections in June were an astounding 65%. And mind you, this is when MSME is in a moratorium. This is the strength of India, which we all forget because we are so busy trying to contradict ourselves and bring each one of us down. We are forgetting these amazing levels of strength which is in India. And these are published statistics. And more important than an MSME collection, let me tell you about the microfinance companies and their collections. I have microfinance, which started June with 60% collections and ended June with 90%. I don't think there is any other place in the world. And please remember the way this COVID had hit all of us. It's not just us individually or us as a business. It's hit everybody, including the government. This is one of the most unprecedented times we've been hit both by the demand side and the supply side at the same time. So, you know, all those traditional instruments of bringing down credit, of increasing credit supply, of bringing down repo rates, of getting more incentives. Think about it. It was all very difficult because now the resources which are left with all of us to fight ourselves out of it are also limited. It is only that will and strength. And this is where I focus totally on MSMEs. And I will come back to that point a little later. Let me give you some other interesting figures. My two-wheeler and tractor businesses are back in demand where that is concerned. My cement year-on-year demand is flat. Again, very important statistics to be looked at. And very interestingly, FMCG, my consumer goods, are back to pre-COVID days. Now what I'm trying to drive at, that because we went into this lockdown quick, and let's face it, nobody knew what is tomorrow and nobody still knows what is tomorrow. Yet the results which we look at show that we've been able to contain it extremely well. And because of this containment, we will be able to get out of it in a much faster level. Will that be a V? Will that be a U? Or will that be an elongated U like a bathtub? In my opinion, I don't think it's a bathtub. I think it could be anywhere between a fast, very sharp V and a U. Now, let me bring back as to what I think has happened in the past 116 days. One, the world has changed completely. There'll be new trends which are coming out, which is going to take over. We all will be having to move very fast and change our business models. And that is where it brings me back to my MSME teams. You see, one of why I'm going back to MSME all the time, in my opinion, the next growth of the new India and what I call is the post-COVID new India, which is going to come out, is going to be driven by this MSME. And I'll tell you why. The strength of the Indian MSME globally today has been acknowledged because of one, their nimbleness of business models, their ability to pivot and change their business models very fast. The best utilization of capital in the most frugal manner is done by my MSMEs. And the most important, every rupee invested in an MSME results in a higher velocity of economy than anywhere else. And now let me give you an example. On the 15th of March, when we started with this little virus, I had 0 PPEs in India. We all know it. In fact, you know, the government of India had created several 8 or 9 task forces, all headed by groups of secretaries. These were empowered groups. And my team was involved with each one of these groups, supporting them. I remember the one which was looking at, and which still is looking at, medical equipment we brought in. We were all over the world, we were trying to see where to import it from. And it was the most difficult times because virtually the entire world was closed. There were just 1 or 2 countries and the entire world was flogging only in those 1 or 2 countries. And the kind of the demands which those countries were putting in to carry on these transactions were ridiculous. They wanted everything upfront without you being able to even test what you were going to buy, to pick it up, to change the terms of the contract within 4 hours. It was virtually impossible. So 15th March, in fact, 30th of March, India had 0 PPEs. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have a run rate of 800,000 PPEs a day. Today, India is not just getting into a position of self-sufficiency, we can export them. Who did this? This was done by my MSMEs. And when I ask you to go through my daily reports, you will go through that and you will see we have a medical equipment section. How the team was getting in touch with all these MSMEs, these new innovators who had come up with these solutions. I had a hosiery maker changing business model, making masks, making PPEs, helping them get the technology or the supply of the raw material, getting somebody who knows, who could make a part or knew how to make a ventilator, getting them in touch with a larger company, increasing production sizes. And to do it at a global level, not just in numbers, in terms of quality. That is my MSME. And that is going to be the strength of what is going to propel New India. And now let me take you to some of the numbers, what has happened. And I'm just going to talk only in these past 116 days. You see, 30th March, that was my closing year, you know. 30th March this year, we closed the year with $74 billion of FDI. It is the highest ever FDI we've got in our history. And let me tell you another interesting element of it. My FDI went up by 18% during the past 12 months, while global FDI went down by 7%. And let me give you another interesting fact. Over 90% of this FDI came in the open route. It did not require any specific approvals. You are today one of the most open economies on the planet. And more interestingly, close to half of this FDI has come in greenfield investment. The investor today is comfortable in taking a long-term call on India. And most importantly, you are now rated as one of the top greenfield destinations in the world. Now, why do I tell you that? The reason why I tell you that, one of the things, the underlying trends, let me step back a little. What has this little virus done? What this little virus has done for each one of us, there were a number of these underlying trends which have now been amplified and catalyzed. What do I mean by that? One of them is de-risking our businesses was always a global model. Everybody knew it from the day you start your business, you're taught always de-risk it. We had all forgotten about it during the past 2.5 decades. Everybody started flocking to 1 or 2 geographic areas in the world, primarily because at that point of time, everybody thought that if it is being made cheaper, it is smarter. What has now come to fore and what has hit everyone in the face is that they need to de-risk their models very fast. They had put all eggs into one basket. What that means is today, every business, and I'm going to tell you with numbers after that, is looking very fast to move their supply chains, to shorter their supply chains, and move their supply chains to countries where the entire market is. That is where they want to take their entire supply chains. And for the next 100 years, in the free democratic world, there is no market which will have 1.5 billion customers within the same geographic area as India. You are the largest market in the world at least for the next 100 years. You are one of the youngest markets in the world for at least the next 90 years. You'll have an average age of 29. And you will be one of the fastest growing markets in the world. You were already the fastest growing GDP. You're coming back to that position if we get out of this COVID very fast enough. Everybody is now looking to move their supply chains there. And what I mean by that, In the past 5 years, Invest India started actually 2015, so let's say operational 2016. We've done over 250,000 business requests from over 109 countries across 47 sectors. But the number of requests which have gone up, especially in the 90 days, has been multifold. I'm having companies just come in and say, please show us the land, we want to start. Please help us, we want to move our existing supply chains. Please help us meet your MSMEs who can fit into our supply chains. And we want to do it really fast. Every day you are hearing announcements of new businesses coming in. I'm seeing businesses like electronics, food processing, R&D, capital goods, engineering goods, auto parts, chemicals, textiles. They are coming in a huge request from across the globe. You know, every day we have webinars, and Ms. Kalia is here. We've had Punjab government also with us. By the way, I must compliment. Invest Punjab is doing a tremendous job. And we have these webinars where exclusive investors have been called in. We have these people who wake up at 3 in the morning in their time zones only to be able to hear the India opportunity and stay on that webinar for 2 hours and follow it up immediately and saying, please tell us where we can get the land. And what is happening in this, that we have groups of state governments, 5 of them, they come and pitch directly to the investor globally. And they're given 10 minutes each. It's like a very fast pitch session as to why they should come to their respective states. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this underlying trend of de-risking their business models globally is now becoming very prominent. They're going to be onshoring their business, and that is where I'm seeing a large number of investments now moving into India in a very fast track, and at a point where they're also moving their supply chains, and they are looking at Indian supply chains who are well known to be able to change their business models, to be efficient and to be innovative. So that is a very interesting element which is happening. Now, let me just share with you very quickly, and I'm not going to speak for too long. I'll just speak for maybe another 5 to 7 minutes. What is happening within the government? What I have seen, especially in the past 75 days, is some of the most unprecedented announcements ever, both at the central government and the state government. And some of these points are the ones which I will also touch, which Mr. Multani had mentioned. One is at the central level. You know, one of the big things was that it would take so long to get approvals. You would have all heard it. An empowered group of secretaries under the cabinet secretary has been formed. In fact, we've just had a couple of initial warm-up meetings, and we're very actively working on that because Invest India is a secretariat. Approvals, any project requiring approvals goes in there and it's done immediately at a fast pace. So there's one committee which has been empowered to be able to give these multiplicity of approvals which are required across multiple departments and to be able to do that. In fact, just after this, I'm going to go into a meeting with my team, which is on the single window. Mr. Multani, you mentioned about having multiple forms in multiple places. Well, that is now what we are formulating. We are now working how we can create one place, one platform you come onto. You have a single application, you fill in that single application and you get all the approvals which are required for. And what we are trying to work on there is on a deemed timeline basis. That process has already begun for us to prepare for that. But on that, let me tell you, it is amazing. One, the government of Punjab has a very good single window, but I also have a few other governments. They have deemed timelines within X number of 18 days or 30 days where they're getting all approvals. And you know what's interesting? There are some state governments, or maybe it's one of them, which is penalizing that government official's personal account for every day's delay. This is unthinkable. And our single windows in some of these state governments are now being rated as one of the best in the world. What has happened in these past 70, 75 days is everybody's realized that this is that big opportunity for India. The time is, how do we all rev up to make it happen? You were talking of the change in mindset. What I've also seen another thing, this new mindset, which has been brought in the past at least 60 months, which I've seen, very fast, I'm hoping and I'm seeing it permeate down to the level which touches the floor, or which is where touches directly to the investor. At the senior levels, we were seeing it all move in. And this is what is now sinking in much faster. You see one big change which has happened in India today. that good economics is now become the center of good politics. If that person does not deliver on getting jobs, does not get investments, you all vote them out. That is what has been the strength of this government, which has been based on creating outcomes. Everything we are doing in the team internally is seeing on what is the outcome. A dashboard is being created to see where the delays are happening and how fast do we move with that outcomes. Those are the kind of things which are coming as the strength of India going forward. And my last point, before I close in my remarks, and I'll open myself to questions after that. If you have noticed, one of the largest focal points of the government in the package which they have announced, or in the packages which they've announced in the past 2.5 months, has been on MSMEs. Some of our MSMEs are not just facing a liquidity problem, they're facing a solvency problem. Some of them are really strong and have been able to catch up. So from trying to get them capital in any form, which is equity to subordinate debt to debt, to try and see how do we get a market for them to enable them that all government purchases, and let's face it, at least for the next 24 months, government is going to be your biggest buyer across the globe. How do you access those and how to make it simpler? All that process has begun. The process has begun. That means we've already started that journey. We still have a long way to go. You are at that inflection point. Is it absolutely positive? Are all banks lending out? Maybe not yet. But the process has begun. There is now a monitoring happening and checking with the banks that how much are you lending out or what has been given to you to lend out. It is to push that process much faster. And that has started. I'm seeing credit offtake increase significantly. Banks are also wanting to lend out. But please also remember, banks are not in the business of just doling out money and gifting it. They have to give it where it was required, or where they can see that it can generate and come back. So if you look at all the announcements which have happened, from bringing in equity to bringing in long-term debt, which is that equity capital fund which has been started, to the long-term debt, to giving large lines of credits and enabling banks and guaranteeing the money which is out. And I've been in touch with several of the banks myself, checking how much are they lending out and is it being increased by on a daily level. Please look at it, and that is being monitored at every level, even within the government. So the process has begun. Now, whenever you are at an inflection point, and I'm going to end at that, whenever you are at an inflection point, either in your life, in your business, or in a country, which is where we are, I look at myself at that inflection point at the bottom end of the hockey stick. We are just about to take off. Either you can keep adopting the stories of the past and criticizing ourselves, or keep looking at some of the new stories of the future, which are increasing in number, and seeing how you can help and make that happen. That will determine how you will course your course of action. I think I've already spoken too much. Webinars, I'm told, Dr. Mehta, one should not speak for more than 20 minutes, and they would have. But these were just some of the thoughts which I wanted to share. I very firmly believe that there is a new India which will be based on the MSMEs. And my last point before I close out, because Mr. Multani had said about the small towns and cities, and I told you about Startup India. You know, my Startup India started on 16 January 2016. I'm just 48, 50 months old on startups. Today, India is number 3 in the world in number of unicorns. In fact, we added a unicorn every month last year. I'm number 2 in the world in number of startups. Unofficially, I have close to 70,000 startups. Officially, obviously, we'll say we are number 3 because official number of startups which have registered with Startup India are 30,000. I'm number 1 in the world in every startup adding every day. I have over 7 startups adding every day. I'm ahead of Israel. But I'll tell you most interesting. You know, out of those 729 districts, today I have a startup, a registered startup with the government of India in over 530 districts. 72% of my startups are coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities on all these new queries which are coming in for me. The engine of growth of India has moved beyond the 7 big cities, has moved down to those small towns and cities. And the growth of New India is going to be propelled bottom up from that MSME who's the best innovator in the world. Thank you. With that, I end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bagla, for such an illuminating speech that you delivered, which is backed by the facts and figures that you have today. You rightly said that post-COVID, it is our MSMEs, which are around 65 million in number as of today, are going to drive the Indian economy. And you have also reflected upon the strength of Indian MSMEs in past few months, as we have never faced such a pandemic in human race so far. Thank you very much indeed for giving us an inspiration. And I'm sure that during these crisis times, everyone will be upbeat by the facts that you presented before us. So before I invite Ms. Isha Kalia, Mr. Bagla has to go probably. Mr. Bagla, you'll wait for some questions, or you need to go, or shall I? Ms. Isha?
Do you have some questions?
Yeah. So we will open this house for some questions before we call Madam Kalia. So if you have any question, kindly, we have some questions here on the chat box. Just maybe some of the questions that if they are relevant to you, maybe you can answer. So Kashish Julka writes, single window policy is there since long time, but there is no implementation I don't know which place she's writing for. She says that we have incentive case hanging on for 3.5 years. We need things to get processed fast on day-to-day basis. This is what she has written. I don't know, she has not given the reference of any state. If you may like to address that.
No, Kashish, mentioning is very, very important. And I get several of these cases with us on a daily basis, let me tell you, on these delays. And we have to find ways how we can get rid of these delays.
Sir, Punjab State, Pathankot.
Okay.
Sir, एक मिनट होल्ड कीजिए, उनको बोलने दीजिए, उसके बाद.
I just want to clarify the state. We are from
अच्छा, Punjab district. Okay.
Pathankot district.
ठीक है. This case relates to that. Okay.
Okay, no, I'm glad you brought that up out. There will be, and I'm sure Ms. Kalia is there. She'll be able to have a look at it.
Yeah.
If you want, also for any specific queries, any specific issues, even though we may not address it here, please send them out to me on my website. I have dedicated teams who would start working on them right away. But I must tell you that this process has begun and digitization is helping us a lot. Invest Punjab has come up a very fast way. I would rate it as one of my top 5 single windows in the country. And what I really like is they're trying to improve upon themselves on a day-by-day basis. There are matrices on which they are trying to see how they can improve them, which includes on how resolving some of these issues which are concerned, and including issues where they can remove or decrease the number of registrations and the number of times you're going to do it. All what I can say is that for the single window at the central government, for the first time, an empowered group has already been set up under the cabinet secretary. We already have had, as I told you, Invest India as the secretariat for that. We are already, in the next couple of weeks, we will see the first meeting happening, and hopefully we will start seeing things ease out much faster. Do I promise you a utopia right away? Not, but maybe closer to a paradise. We are trying to work in that direction.
Thank you, Mr. Bagla. Before we take any more questions, we will request Ms. Isha Kalia, Deputy CEO, Invest Punjab. And before that, I would request Mr. Karan Gilotra, the chairman of our Punjab chapter, to introduce Madam to the audience and each one of us.
Sir, I have a question for Mr. Bagla.
Yeah. Please hold on for some time. Mr. Bagla is going to be here for some time.
Okay.
Yeah. Karanji?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Mehta.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Good evening once again to everyone. Good evening, Isha ma'am. Welcome to Regional Economic Forum, first of its kind being organized by PhD Chamber. Before I request ma'am to share her views, I would like to welcome and also introduce Ms. Isha Kalia, Additional Chief Executive Officer, Punjab Invest, and she's also the Special Secretary, Department of Health and Family Welfare. Ms. Kalia is a young and dynamic officer and holds multiple credits of achievement. She has been recognized by the Prime Minister's Office for Udan Project, an initiative on women empowerment counseling. And ma'am also received Swachhta Champion Award for implementation of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan by the Ministry of Drinking Water and Supply, Government of India. Ma'am is also a gold medalist in law at Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration. And also, ma'am is a very dear friend and has been my deputy commissioner for a couple of years. So I've worked very closely with ma'am in Punjab. And now with this leadership role in PhD chamber, I've been working again very closely with ma'am. So welcome once again, ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you, Karanji. Over to you, Madam Kalia, for your address. We all are waiting for.
A very good evening to all the members of PhD Chamber. A very good evening to Mr. Deepak Bagla. I think his address and the opening remarks were very, very encouraging and full power packed with a lot of facts and figures. I think these times, that we are facing, they're very challenging times for all of us, especially the businesses. But as government, as Invest Punjab, representing the investment scenario in our state, I feel that we are in it together and we are here to support and be with each and every investor of ours. Every adversity, as we say, brings a new opportunity. And I'm happy to share in the last 2-3 months, we had 0 manufacturers when we began with this entire COVID pandemic. We had 0 manufacturers of PPE kits and N95 ventilators in Punjab. And thanks to the indomitable spirit of the Punjabis, that we today have 128 registered manufacturers of PPE kits, 5 manufacturers of N95 masks, and we are also manufacturing ventilators now. So whenever a crisis situation comes, a challenge comes, I'm very thankful to our industry, our people, that they've always risen to the challenge and have delivered. Coming to what Mr. Bagla had also suggested, even in Punjab, 90% of our units are back into operations and they are functional now. And even during the COVID times, we've ensured that Invest Punjab has been working day and night to be it, getting the curfew passes issued, looking after the restoring the supply chains. Our officers, our dedicated relationship managers have been working with the industries to ensure that these difficult times we sail through together. And I'm happy that the kind of feedback that we have got has been very encouraging. So starting with a brief presentation on what opportunities Punjab has to offer, what all sectors are our focus sectors and how are we placed. So I would quickly run through a brief presentation on Punjab and what all initiatives we have taken during these times, and even as a policy matter, how we look to ease out the ease of doing business, as we say, is the tagline for everything, but how actually on ground we've been doing that. I would briefly like to share that. So starting with my presentation. So Punjab, as you all know, is very well connected to the national capital. We are strategically located. We have footprint of all major international businesses and companies. So be it in America, Europe, Asia, or Middle East, we have good presence of all the companies here in Punjab, and every year we're looking forward for expansion. So when we talk about Punjab, Punjab is a small state with only 50,000 square kilometer of area. So only with 1.5% of India's land area, we contribute to 3% of India's GDP. So we are proud to be acclaimed as Food Bowl of India, and we are largest, we 25% rice and 35% wheat in the central grain pool. We had 1.3 billion US dollars worth of food exports in 2018-19. And our strength is food processing sector, as you all know. And we have 162 warehouses, cold storages, and mandi yards. And I'm very happy to share that even during the COVID pandemic, the procurement process that was carried out in Punjab, it was one of the biggest in the Asia to be carried out, and very successfully the procurement was carried out, even despite the fact that every person was battling the COVID pandemic. We increased the number of yards and we ensured that each and every grain that came to the mandis is procured. We excel in engineering. We are an engineering hub. We are #1 in the machine and hand tools production. We are a leading state in bicycle and bicycle components and manufacturing. We are a top state in tractor and implement manufacturing, and we account for 25% of secondary steel market. Another sector that has been our strength is textile sector, because in textile sector we're perhaps the only state in the entire North India where we have complete textile value chain. So be it from the raw availability of raw material to the ginning to the processing, everything happens within Punjab. So we're second in the cotton yarn and blended yarn production. We're biggest hosiery and woolen manufacturing state, and we contribute 35% to the various sports goods also. When it comes to the pharma and medical devices cluster, this is a very big emerging sector here in Punjab, and I would share how and why in my coming slides, because this is a sector that is at the forefront right now, and we are coming up with a lot of new parks here in Punjab because of this. A 133-acre of pharma park is coming up in Fatehgarh Sahib, and it's a new initiative that we have taken during the 3-4 months. We are 33% of global demand of ibuprofen from IOL chemicals, and we have presence of a lot of big brands of medical devices. We're also emerging as a IT hub. You know that Mohali and places in the vicinity of Chandigarh are emerging as an IT hub, and we have 150 plus registered IT units with 35K IT professionals, and we're exporting to US, Norway, Canada, and Australia. And we also have a center of excellence at STPI Mohali, and a lot of collaborations and startups are being encouraged there. Punjab has always been an international sourcing destination. So our exports have been $6 billion US, and we constitute 10%. Next. So we constitute 10% of exports in Northern India, 2% of India as a whole. We are doing maximum basmati rice is our export, then cotton yarn and others. And our destination, they are varied, covering all across the world, various continents. We have a presence everywhere. Goods from Punjab, very interestingly, like we have units like Aarti International that is providing steel products for Tesla components. We have that provides auto components to Ford and Mercedes. We have Sevi International that provided the rugby balls for Japan, World Cup in Japan. Hero Cycles is providing e-bikes to Europe. Trident Group is home textiles to USA. IOL Chemicals is providing pharma products to South America. And Sonalika Tractors is providing the machinery to Africa. But our pride is MSMEs. Our backbone is MSME that employs maximum number of people in our state. And this has been our core strength. We have 2 lakh plus MSMEs in Punjab, and every possible effort is being made to encourage and promote them further. So be it auto components, bicycles, cotton ginning and processing, electrical goods, pharma, rubber goods, we have presence of MSMEs all across the sector. In the last 3 years, we have grounded 60,000 crore plus investments on ground. So our performance can be gauged from the fact that, we have grounded this much of investment in the last 3 years, thanks to the support from all the countries and from our people here. So if we talk about our what are comparative factors of production, that we provide affordable quality of power. We are a power surplus state, so even in the peak demand, we've never purchased power. We have no transmission losses. We have a very peaceful labor relationships. We have had no major strike in the last 3 decades, and we give flexibility in hiring. Unlike many states that have domicile restrictions, in Punjab we have no such domicile restriction, and we provide 24/7 shifts across the gender. When it comes to logistics, Punjab, yes, is a landlocked state, but when it comes to the ease of logistics, we've been ranked second. We are very well connected through roads, through the rail density, second highest in the country. We are first in the safety security of the cargo movement, and we have 5 inland container depots and 3 multimodal logistic parks. And we also are well connected to the eastern and western dedicated freight corridors that are coming up. When it comes to digital infrastructure, we ranked second in the tele-density and first in India in the number of internet subscribers per 100 population. In top 5 states in optical fiber net connectivity, and 4G connectivity is also something that we excel in. Now, what makes all this possible? What makes grounding 60,000 CR in the last 3 years possible? It is the incentives. Our industrial policy 2017 is a very well crafted and drafted policy where we have compared the policies of various states and come up with this policy. It provides you unmatched incentives, so be it your GST reimbursement on inter and intra-state sales, recovery of up to 2%, 200% of FCI. So we are the only state that is also providing the GST reimbursement for intra-state sales. We also provide employment subsidy up to INR 48,000 per employee per year for 5 years. We are providing 100% electricity exemption for 15 years and 100% exemption of CLU, EDC charges and stamp duty. For various sectors, as we have shown in the slide, for the anchor units, we also have extra incentives that we provide in offer. What is very important for any business to thrive is the ease of doing business, and not just saying it, but also living by it. For this purpose, Punjab has very recently come up with Punjab Right to Business Act 2020. So when we talk about the Inspector Raj, when we talk about the clearances getting delayed, now this is something that is a game changer. Now new MSMEs can start a business in Punjab based solely on self-certification. Approvals are valid for 3.5 years. No inspection would be carried on during this time. And no approvals are required for the CLU, building plan approval, factory approval, fire NOC, trade license, shop or commercial establishment registration. It's a very, very progressive legislation that has come up to ensure that there are no delays or there are no hassles that are by the investors when they want to invest and they want to expand. So we trust what you say. There are self-certifications you have to give it to us, and you can just start immediately with your business. We have also found in various districts, we formed MSME facilitation councils for settlement of disputes on delayed payments. So this was one major issue that a lot of associations used to share with us, that it takes years for the disputes to get settled. So now a lot of such MSME facilitation councils have been set up in districts so that immediately your disputes can be resolved. When it comes to the fiscal incentives, facilitation of easy access to finance through institutions like banks, and we have ensured that INR 2165 CR is sanctioned to MSMEs under Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. So all these initiatives, regulatory and fiscal, are there to ensure that MSMEs thrive and they don't have to face any problem when starting a new business. Then we've come up with a new theme, Make in Punjab. So preference in public procurement is being given under this scheme. It is very beneficial for local manufacturers. And when we see various tenders and various demand, almost 1,000 CR plus annual demand exists in Punjab that is there for taking. So if a lot of internal investors, if they want to do, who are sourcing almost 40% supplies from within Punjab, they are eligible to this. All these details are available on our website, and you can please contact us for more details. We are ensuring that collaboration with international OEMs like ITC for awarding trial orders to Punjab MSMEs, providing market access to Punjab on established global platforms through e-commerce like Amazon and Flipkart, and district level export promotion committees. This is something that we are coming up with, Punjab export policy, and under that we have envisaged that we would be forming these district level export promotion committees as well. We have a dedicated marketing cell to provide necessary marketing assistance to the MSMEs here in our Department of Industries. So this is a very, very important and industrial new initiative that has been taken. Now, what all opportunities exist? So whenever an investor wants to invest, the first question is, where can I get a land? Where can I get plug and play facilities to start functioning from day one? So now sharing with you with this, High Tech Valley is coming up in Ludhiana in 280 acres. It's under implementation. We have a mega food park, Ladowal in Ludhiana. Then we have an industrial park in Ludhiana that's coming up in Matewada. We have an industrial park in Bhatinda, 1500 acres of land is being available there. We have IMC Patiala, 1100 acres of land is available there. We're coming up with ESDM Park in Mohali, 200 acres. And very recently, we've taken, PSIC has taken a possession of Pharma land at Fatehgarh Sahib for setting up of Pharma Park in 133 acres of land. So all facilities in these parks would be available for the investors to come and start operating. What has been the support to the industry during the COVID lockdown? We've ensured dynamic industry engagement, so regular feedback has been obtained from industries. All our sector officers have been working during the lockdown, have been ensuring that our investors face no problem due to the lockdown. So be it coordinating with the district administration for providing various passes, various clearances, restoring the supply chains, our officers have been doing it all. Relaxations that have been announced to the industry for pollution, the CT and consent to operate and establish authorization registrations have been extended up to 30th June 2020. Boilers approvals have been extended to 30th June 2020, and labor working hours increased to 12 from 9 hours, spread over relaxed to 13 hours from 10.5 hours. For power, for medium supply and large supply industries, bill payment dates extended. Fixed charges for medium and large scale supply consumers exempted for 2 months, and no disconnection for non-payment. So these are the things that we have announced. When it comes to the government industry partnership, because in Invest Punjab, as a government of Punjab, we believe that we need to work hand in hand with the industries, and we have to be partners in this growth process. So we have always provided strong support to the industry for production. So during this COVID times, we have ensured, as I shared before, that all the all our manufacturers, they get clearance from the CITRA, they get clearances from the GOI, so that immediately they start manufacturing. And I'm very happy that 108 PPE kit and 5 N95 mask manufacturers and 11 ventilator manufacturers have come up in Punjab in the last 2-3 months when we had none to begin with. Talking about Invest Punjab, the organization that I represent, Invest Punjab is one of its kind in the country. It's a one-stop office. So all the 23 departments, they are housed in the same building where I'm sitting. It's a unified regulator. So for every sort of regulatory clearance, and after that, after you set up your project, fiscal incentives during the construction or post-operation phase, everything happens under one roof here. We have a business first single window system in which our record rate is that 91% of approvals have been granted within the time. So we have dedicated relationship manager here. So we have different sectors that we have divided amongst the officers, and every officer dedicatedly looks after a sector. So if you have any project that you want to set up, our sector officers are going to facilitate you in every possible way. All the approvals are digital, so you need not go from one office to the other. All the things you can apply online through Business First portal, and then we can review it. We have timelines fixed for every approval as per the Right to Public Accountability and Transparency Act, and we ensure that we stick to the timelines. Opportunities in Punjab, if we talk about, as I've already elaborated, agri and food processing is our strength. So when it comes to the organic food, the dairy processing, the ready-to-eat packaged food, the animal feed products, smart warehouses, processing infra, this is everything that is an opportunity for all the industries, companies present today that you can think about investing in. ESDM, we are doing the sectors that we're looking after is mobile manufacturing, consumer durables, engineering design, 3D printing. Pharma, as I said, is a very, very important sector that is emerging, and we also have parks coming up in Punjab. So bulk drugs, APIs, intermediates, lifestyle formulation, high-tech medical devices is something that is a sector that provides a lot of opportunities in. Textiles, as you know, is our strength. So apparels and made-up, sports code, footwear and accessories. Technical textiles is something that is a newer field and has a lot of potential in the future. We are getting a lot of queries about this particular subsector within the textiles. This is also one emerging sector, I would say. And textile certification labs, light engineering. Already we have great presence of a lot of MSMEs in the sector, but all these areas of high-end bicycles, robotic arms, high-tech machinery, something that has an opportunity for future. Coming to IT and ITES, this sector has a good potential. Everything is digital, everything is IT managed these days, and especially during the COVID pandemic, we've seen that all these IT has really made inroads in every day and every part of our lives. So I think software development, AI, machine learning, all these sectors are very important for us, and we invite a lot of collaborations in this. Partners in growth, as I said, we have footprint and we have presence of various national, international brands in our state, and we're happy for that. So sharing the investor speak, we have few testimonials that we have shown here. The 3 testimonials that we have shown there, can you please slide? So one is Varun Beverages. They had a record time in which the project got grounded, and then is from the Fortis Healthcare that they have shared that how a good environment helped them in grounding the investment in a record time. And SML Isuzu, a Japanese company, they started their Indian journey with Punjab, and they have ever since expanded, and they have never seen any labor problem in Punjab ever. So that is all that I wanted to present. And I would just like to urge to all the participants today that for any queries, for any issues concerning your investments, we'll be happy to facilitate here in Invest Punjab. And one feedback that I got from Pathankot, so I would definitely, my team is going to get in touch with you. If you can please share your particulars in the chat box. Because we would be happy to facilitate in every possible way and find out that what is the reason that why it took you so much of time for getting an incentive. Because the effort of Invest Punjab here is just to facilitate every possible thing that we can for the investor. So with this, I would thank all of you for inviting me here, and I would thank all of you for being with us in this in these difficult times, because I see a lot of participants from Punjab as well. And anytime, any issue, please get in touch with Invest Punjab so that we can do a requisite hand holding and ensure that your projects are grounded in time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Isha Kalia, for your very comprehensive presentation and what all the Invest Punjab has been doing. We have been working very closely, PSD Chamber, with Invest Punjab. There are some questions, so which probably you may like to answer. One of the questions that we have got is, during this pandemic times, there have been people have been MSMEs, especially they would like to participate in e-exhibitions. So they have written that any reduced rate for participation in MSMEs during this time. This is the question which has come.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, madam. Are you there?
And now actually I have a meeting to attend, so I'm just getting calls. So please, can you please repeat the question?
Yes, the question is that are there any reduced rates or some subsidy for taking part in the exhibitions for MSMEs during this time? Yeah, did you hear the question?
I'm just joining.
Yes, hi. My name is Vivek on behalf of Invest Punjab. So there are lots of subsidies. In fact, Invest Punjab has offered good incentives for MSMEs. In fact, these incentives are beyond the regular incentives which are available under the industrial development policy. I would love to share the details of it. These are available on our website, and I request everyone to please go through our website and get the details of it, the incentives.
Okay, second question, though it may not be directly to Invest Punjab, but it says that please give permission to industries for extracting the groundwater because without water they can't operate.
See, for this, I would just like to tell quickly. I actually, but see, the thing of India. So the see every state.
I'll request everyone to please put your microphones on mute. Otherwise, we will not be able to hear anything.
Is that I
आप
have.
सब लोग अपने microphone mute कर दीजिए, please.
Yeah, so we cannot, as a state, give a permission to extract groundwater because there's an authority of Government of India that's called Central Groundwater Authority of India.
Yes.
Every state of the country is bound by the directions of that, and they have clearly earmarked the zones that what is allowed in which zone, and this is not something any state can do, and you cannot vitiate those terms of CGW. So it's a uniform guideline pan India, and nobody can vitiate from it.
Okay.
And the rule is very clear. If you go on the CGWA website, so before you plan a project, you can easily see which one is a dark zone, what kind of industries can come, what kind of precautions they need to take if they have to be set up in that particular zone.
Okay, so here Mr. Vivek Chaudhary is writing to you. So he's the president of Pathankot IGC Industrial Association of Pathankot. So he says that our industrial area is spread over 413 acres of land and having a very strong potential for setting up industries here. But, we don't have the permanent post of GMDIC. We don't have a post of DTP. Then how can we get to know about the Punjab policies as no one is here to guide us? As a result, some of the industrialists are still waiting for their incentive approval. Kindly also look into this if you like to respond to this.
Okay, so I've taken a note of this, that you're saying that GMDIC Pathankot post is vacant.
Yeah.
And that your incentive process are not being processed and not brought to the state level. So don't worry, I'll take it up with the Department of Industries and we'll post somebody there, or at least give an additional charge, because I don't see there cannot be a possibility that no person has an additional charge. So we do have this facilitator, and plus there's one more thing, that we have deputed a business facilitator in every district of Punjab for this very purpose, that he's supposed to facilitate the investors in filling of the CAP, that is a common application form, also facilitating incentives. So I need to check with Pathankot. I'm sure somebody must have been given the additional charge. If no, we'll get it done at the earliest, but you must know that
there is an additional charge that is looking after from Batala only. But the problem is here, they are only coming for 2 days, and the people in Pathankot, they are likely to invest in the industries, but due to the non-availability of permanent post, we are facing these problems day by day, ma'am.
Don't worry, I think your point is noted, and we'll ensure that you don't face this issue. And I'll also ask if you can put your details in the chat box. We can ask our business facilitator to also get in touch with you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so
Mr. Jagdish Garg, he writes a clarity on fiscal incentives, net SGST offered by Invest Punjab.
Yeah. See, I think for any issues on fiscal incentives, if you see our website, it's very clear. So we are providing you 200% of the FCI for inter and intra-state sales. So if you want a very specific, calculation about the sector that you are looking after, our team here can help you out with. So please share your particulars on the chat box so that my sector officer tells you what are the incentives that are meant for your sector, your industry per se that you're talking about, so that you are clear on what all incentives you are supposed to get. So please share your details in the chat box. My sector officer Sunil Janeja will get in touch with you and tell you that for your industry, these are the incentives that you must get.
Okay. So Mr. Manish Sabrawal writes that we are interested in technical collaboration with foreign companies in medical device industry. We are 35-year-old group and export to almost 40 countries. We are also open to collaborate with marketing companies, give equity to our organization. So he would like to have the email ID of Invest Punjab, but Mr. Manish Sabrawal email ID you can get from Invest Punjab side. But I think that Madam would like to respond to him.
Yeah, I think it's really good that if you're saying that you have this technical expertise in the sector, we'll be happy to know that what kind of cooperation you're wanting from our side. So please share your contact details with the mobile number or email address. Our team is going to get in touch with you. that how is it we can facilitate you. So if you're doing such a wonderful work and you're a 35 years old group and you're exporting to so many countries, so let us see how we can, what is your expectation from us and how we can help you expand your business further.
Okay, these are all questions that I can see in the chat box. If anyone would like to ask, please raise your hand and ask a question. Sachdevaji, please ask a question. Sachdevaji.
Yeah, my question is to Mr. Deepak Bagla. We are, sir, in electronic manufacturing industry, LED lights, and we make the in-house electronic drivers. When we started this industry, maybe 10 years ago, we were getting all the components and the lights, parts, housings from China. Slowly, we have now developed everything in India, but the critical electronic components for the driver manufacturing, we are not getting. So in this, this China-Indo issue last 10-15 days ago, our whole, lots of consignments started blocked at the airports and the shipping area. It's a very, situation where any other day we can have a shutdown of industry. There's no certainty at this moment. So till you have India manufacturing all those components in-house, I believe we should segregate the items which are not being manufactured in India and should be stopped, should not be stopped at all at the airports and the imports from China. Because no other country, even Taiwan, Japan or Korea manufacture such kind of equipment or the components. So this is one suggestion. The second is the MeitY has offered 3 schemes for the investments in electronics, but all those are very, very different as compared to what we are looking for to expand and have in-house manufacturing of these electronic components if we make it in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bagla. Are you there? Or anyone from Invest Punjab, Invest India? I think Mr. Sachdeva, Mr. Bagla has to go, had to go. So maybe that we can also send your query to Invest Punjab.
I have a question. I have a question, please.
Hold on, please. So Invest Punjab, would you like to respond to this, Mr. Vivek?
No, Minder Sekhri here. I have a question, please, for ma'am.
Invest Punjab, Mr. Vivek.
I'm from Amrit Group.
We also have our sector officer, Mr. Sunil Vineja.
Yes. Yes. Would you like to respond to what Mr. Sachdeva said?
Can we have the question again, please? Is it regarding the state of Punjab or is it for the Government of India?
Sachdeva ji, is it for the state of Punjab?
No, it is for Government of India.
Okay. ठीक है. Any question related to state of Punjab only right now, please?
Sir, I have a question from Madam. Hello.
अपना introduction दीजिए, please.
I am M.K. Bohra, President CMA Chandigarh, and I have a question from Madam Isha. That MSMEs, they develop the technology. How you are protecting their technology? What incentives you can provide to them for technology development? Second question is that if technology need more improvement, what Invest Punjab is helping to MSMEs? Thank you.
Mr. Bohra, we have incentives in the form of we have the taxation incentives, electricity incentives, and duty incentives. For the new investment, we have the incentives for the expansion cases also.
So actually, we can't hear him properly. But as far as protecting your technology is concerned, you have to register with trademarks and IPR. You have to take the help of IPR, and PhD Chamber will be opening a IPR center at Amritsar, Punjab in next around 1 week. So you may like to contact our Punjab chapter for this. So that'll we can guide you how to actually protect your technology as far as trademark is concerned.
That is
Sir, I wish to ask a question, please.
Yeah, please
To
introduce
West Punjab.
yourself and you may ask.
That's a nice answer. Thank you.
Hello, can I ask a question, please?
हाँ जी, अपने आप को इंट्रोड्यूस करके क्वेश्चन पूछिए प्लीज.
Sir, I am Kamar Harbeer Singh Khindsa, Vice President, Mohali Chamber of Industries and Commerce. Sir, there is no handshake between PSPCL and Industry Department as recently PSIC has announced 15% of residents in the industrial premises. But PSPCL is not allowing any domestic connection for this. I would request that the industry department should make some means so that each and every provision provided by the industry department, PSIC or any Invest Punjab or Infotech, that should be communicated to the related departments like PSPCL and all that. That's all, sir. I wish.
Generally, the information is percolated to all the departments. But in case you have a specific.
Okay, Invest Punjab, would you like to respond?
Yes, please.
So I was just responding. Generally, the information or the policy which is made within Invest Punjab is circulated amongst all the departments. But in case some unaddressed query has been left out, you please feel free to send the same address to CEO or additional CEO. The same will be appropriately marked and dealt with, and a proper response will come.
In fact, we would also leave our email address into the chat box.
Yes.
If anybody has any specific queries, they can also reach out to Invest Punjab. So Sunil Junita will share.
I have a question for Invest Punjab. I'm Inder Sekhri from Batala.
Right, sir.
Can I ask a question, ma'am?
Yeah, please.
Haji, please.
Ma'am, I have a very specific question from you. The industrial policy we have in place for 2017, from 2017, that is not being implemented by other government departments. They do not accept that policy. What needs to be done about it? We have specific problems with PSPCL. We have a specific problem with the sales tax department, GST department, and even the fiscal incentives which are being given to us. You have changed the policy of getting the fixed amount to be. The investment amount to be fixed by DCs now. That power has been given from Invest Punjab to the district level officers. Whereas the certain cases have been shifted from your Invest Punjab to DC office. Now we do not know where to go and how to get the things implemented.
Sekhri Sahab, I think your case, if I recall, is the case of a migration. I think your unit under the policy FIIP 2013,
yes,
and now under the guidelines of industry policy 2017, all the cases and all the incentives will be processed by the industries department person. When I say industries department,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
No, my all clearances were done by a Chandigarh office. You know,
absolutely
all
right.
clearances were done there. Only the incentive amount has to be fixed now.
Right. So that fixation, the
And
owner's
for that,
responsibility lies with the general manager.
There's another, ma'am. I have a suggestion on this part.
Sekhri साहब उनको बोलने दीजिए पहले, उसके बाद दीजिए suggestion.
Right. Okay.
Sekhri sahab, so now the procedure is that which concerned GMDIC will put up the case to the committee for the sanctioning of the incentives. Now, in your case, if the investment is less than the investment in the planning machinery is less than 10 CR, so the case will be processed at the district level through general manager DIC. It will be dealt at the DC office, and after that, the case comes to the state level committee for the final discussion.
Now, I have a suggestion on this part.
Please,
Once
sir.
the balance sheet is audited, where is the need for having another certification from the chartered accountant or a person who is authorized by department? Our accounts are already audited. Our CA is there to certify that fixed capital amount, this much is the amount. It is reflected in the balance sheet. It goes to the income tax department. Physically, machinery can be verified. Where is the requirement for another agency to verify all those things?
These
You have
guidelines.
put up another,
In fact, so that's a very valid suggestion. We have just noted it, and we'll keep it for as a good suggestion from your side, sir.
Okay.
Another thing, I have another problem with the PSPCL. In your industrial policy, for the SIC industry, you have given an incentive that the closure period, the minimum charges will not be charged. Whereas the department doesn't recognize the industrial policy in this respect.
Okay, so you've been charged for this particular period?
Yes. All industry is suffering. They say we have no guidelines from the board, so we do not recognize the industrial policy at all.
Okay, so have any representation gone to PSPCL in this regard with a copy to probably Invest Punjab?
I have contacted the Invest Punjab also. I have contacted the officers of PSPCL. I was ultimately told that you go to the regulatory commission. Now, if you people are sitting there to help the industry cannot keep on fighting in the courts and tribunals.
So I would request you.
I think we.
I will pass on your message to the concerned PSPCL member officer. But I would further request you to submit a representation to PSPCL with a copy to Invest Punjab, so that it can be.
I have.
No problem.
I have spoken to Mr. Sanjeev on this. I think he is your representative from PSPCL.
Okay.
Probably I could not get a proper reply on this. There's another problem, ma'am. The minimum charges have been converted into fixed charges now. The power tariff promised by government of Punjab of 5 rupees. Now, in certain industries, it is being charged to the extent of 10 rupees per unit. We have given a representation on this. Nobody is listening. The government has announced an incentive that you will be charged 5 rupees a unit. But actual billing that we are getting in certain industries, because they have converted the minimum charges to fixed charges, it's a backdoor charging the amount they are charging us as fixed charges. They have increased the tariff. We have not got the benefit of rupees 5 at all in our area. This benefit is only gone to the industry where the consumption is very, very high. Where the consumption is lesser, there the industry is being penalized.
See, it is not the case the industry is being penalized like this. So it is about the fixed charges which is being levied on the sanctioned load. So if the sanctioned load is a higher side, so the fixed charges come to the sanctioned load only. So
no, but let me tell you, sir. Earlier,
Mr. Sekri, we can't hear you, but it will be better that if you send a written representation to Invest Punjab.
I have brought it to the notice of GMDAC. I have sent the letters, I have sent the mail. But now today at this platform, I am trying to bring it to the notice of all the officers.
In this regard, I would suggest, just write another communication to Invest Punjab so that it can be dealt separately.
Yes.
And even the PhD chamber. That will be
Can I speak?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
This is Ashish Arora. I'm calling from Mohali. We are into hospitality business from past 20 years, and now as we are planning to set up a food processing unit, and I don't know why we have to run over to the neighboring Himachal states and all for the subsidy and the incentives. Whereas here in Mohali town only, we have to run from pillar to post to get the informations about the policies, about the incentives, many things. I have already marked my query to Invest Punjab. I think they might have gone through the query. I have sent the private message to them also. So I would like to have a detailed information about the food processing units and the incentives, what they are offering, because it is quite disheartening to go to the neighboring state and set up a unit, whereas you belong to Punjab and you are living in Punjab from past so many years. It's quite disheartening. So this is a question for this Invest Punjab only. I would like them to send a detailed information about this, so we can go through.
Mr. Arora, can we have your I'll ask the concerned officer who looks after the food processing. Will get in touch with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I have already marked my email ID also. If you can see in the chat box, the email ID is there. I would be.
We will get a response.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, please.
I am Trilochan Dev, Managing Director, Labat Asia Private Limited. We are situated in Mohali, Punjab. We are actually a medtech company involved into the research and development of hearing healthcare equipment, which is some import substitute products. So we are already ready with these products, and which are actually we already selling for it, manufacturing and selling it for the past 2 years, and now these products actually are export worthy. So the question is that we are looking for some sort of government support on, one, to scale up, two, for the certification, so that we can start exports to the regulated markets, three, for the international expositions. So we have tried to follow it up with the MSME, the DIC and all this, but then we could not find any specific schemes or any support, funding supports available. So if let us say we get a funding, we have the potential to do about 200 crores worth of business, and 80% of it will be export. So meaning earning a lot of foreign exchange for the country and the state. So I would specifically ask the Invest Punjab that is there a funding schemes available, number one. Number two, can Invest Punjab help us in getting some sort of joint venture with some international manufacturers, because who would be interested in manufacturing such devices here in India?
I would like to reply it like this. As far as the collaborations is concerned, yes, we can provide the assistance. You can give your representation, and we would like to, because there are different forums, there are different forums on which we keep the engagements of different investors along with the people who are on the lookout for the partnership. And as far as the funding is concerned, there is no such platform where the government is funding any industry as such. It is only the fiscal assistance that we provide.
There is an export policy. What we would that an export policy is in making and should be out in some time now. And probably I would request that there may be some provisions in the export policy that you can look at. In the meanwhile, the funding for for all any international event and anything is as per the Government of India guidelines. There are a lot of schemes which are applicable for MSME units by Government of India. If you wish to have those details of it, ideally it's the Department of Industries or DMDICs. Otherwise, if you wish to write to us, we would also be happy to provide you with that information.
One moment, I would like to intervene. The policies or the schemes which are made are actually very old, because based on the kind of products which we India were manufacturing or maybe were exporting to countries. So based on those things, I'm talking about the products which are innovative, which are actually were not being manufactured in India, and this has a specific sort of expositions in the world, a very limited one, and for that we have tried to find out. There is no such scheme to to say that the department does not want to deviate from a certain set of exhibitions to some other set of exhibitions for this kind of support.
So, like Mr. Sunil said, we would be happy to connect you with some of the partners who would be who are looking at these kind of innovation technologies. we are part of a lot of forums where, you know, these kind of technologies are presented, and a lot of partners have expressed, you know, interest in exploring, you know, the MSME units of Punjab. Please do write to us. We would be happy to connect you with them.
Can I have your email ID?
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We are just short of time now, and you may send your questions to Invest Punjab. Invest Punjab has given their email ID here. Probably they can write it again. You may send your questions directly to them. And we thank you very much for attending. Now I request Mr. Madhu Sujanvej, the chairman of our Chandigarh chapter, who had initiated this regional economic forum, to give a formal vote of thanks to each one of you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Deepak Bagla, Managing Director, CEO, Invest India. Madam Isha Kalia, Additional CEO, Invest Punjab, Department of Investment Promotion, Government of Punjab. Shri Pradeep Multani ji, Vice President, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Dr. Ranjit Mehta, Principal Director, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Office Bearers of UT Chandigarh Chapter, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh State Chapter of PhD. Industry members, ladies and gentlemen, it's my proud privilege to propose a hearty vote of thanks to Mr. Deepak Bagla, Madam Isha Kalia, for joining us today at the Regional Economic Forum and sharing vital information with the business leaders of our region. I'm sure that this information will help all of us in our business endeavors. We sincerely hope to receive the same support with swift flow of information for the progress of the region in future as well. We are very appreciative of our Vice President, Mr. Pradeep Multani, to be amongst us today. Sir, your presence is delightful and encouraging for our membership. I thank office bearers from Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh for their support in building this program. I thank my fellow industry members for joining the session. I hope that I endeavor to provide you constant policy advocacy support and right information at the right time adds up to our business growth. Thank you very much, and with best wishes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vij. Thank you very much. We thank you very much for organizing this program, Mr. Vij. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
So may I have the Isha Madam email ID, please? Is that
कौन है? हाँ जी हाँ जी, वो तो फ्लोर वाइज है।